The bet was cruel, and everyone in that glass tower knew it. Evelyn Cross, one of the wealthiest women in the city, looked at the janitor mopping her office floor at midnight and laughed with her friends over champagne, wagering that the quiet single father wouldn't survive 5 minutes of her tests before he broke down and quit. What she didn't know was that this man had already survived losing his wife, raising 2 children alone, and burying his pride every single day just to keep food on the table. And tonight he was about to prove that some people don't break, they simply endure. If stories like this move you, if you believe people deserve second chances no matter how hard life has been to them, hit that like button, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner so you never miss a story like this one. Marcus Reed had been cleaning the executive floors of Cross Enterprises for 8 months. He never complained, never made eye contact with the executives rushing past him, and never let anyone see how exhausted he truly was. Every night after his shift, he drove 40 minutes to a small apartment where his 2 children, Ava and Noah, waited for him with homework undone and stomachs half full. Their mother had passed away 3 years earlier, and since then, Marcus had carried the weight of 2 lives on shoulders that were slowly giving out. He worked the night shift because it paid slightly more, and slightly more meant the difference between the lights staying on and darkness. Evelyn Cross had built her empire from nothing. And somewhere along the way she had convinced herself that softness was a weakness the world could not afford. That night, restless and bored after a failed business deal, she made a bet with her assistant. She would personally supervise the new janitor's shift, throw every obstacle she could think of at him, and see how long it took before he quit like all the others had. 5 minutes, she guessed. Maybe 10 if he was stubborn. She started by criticizing every corner he cleaned, every trash bin he emptied, following him from floor to floor with a clipboard and a cold, unreadable expression. Marcus said nothing. He simply nodded, adjusted his work, and kept moving. When she demanded he redo an entire hallway because of an imaginary streak on the marble, he got down on his knees and did it without a single word of protest. Hours passed. Midnight became 1 in the morning. 1 became 3. And still, Marcus worked, his hands blistered, his eyes heavy, but his spirit unshaken. Somewhere around 4 in the morning, Evelyn's cruelty began to crack. She found herself asking questions instead of giving orders. Why did he take this job? Why didn't he ever push back? Why did his eyes carry so much sadness even when he smiled at her out of simple politeness? Marcus finally spoke, his voice quiet but steady, telling her about Ava's fever last winter when he couldn't afford the clinic visit, about Noah asking why Daddy was always so tired, about the promise he made at his wife's grave that he would never let their children feel forgotten. Evelyn sat down on the cold marble floor beside him, her expensive heels forgotten, and for the first time in years, she felt something crack open inside her chest. By sunrise, the bet Evelyn had made was no longer about proving a point. It had become something else entirely, a mirror reflecting her own loneliness, the family she'd sacrificed for success, the humanity she'd buried under boardrooms and profit margins. She watched Marcus finish his shift exactly as the sun rose over the city skyline, exhausted but whole, having never once given her the satisfaction of watching him break. Her assistant, waiting nervously by the elevator, asked if she'd won her bet. Evelyn simply shook her head and said that she hadn't won anything, she had lost and gained something far more valuable in return. That morning, Evelyn Cross did something no one at Cross Enterprises had ever seen her do. She personally created a scholarship trust for Ava and Noah, arranged proper daytime hours and a livable wage for Marcus, and quietly began visiting his small apartment on weekends, not as his employer, but as someone learning what real strength actually looked like. The city watched in disbelief as the coldest woman in corporate America became known for her quiet acts of kindness towards struggling families, all inspired by one night she never expected to change her. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who might need reminding that kindness still exists in this world. Your support means everything to this channel and helps us keep telling stories that matter. And before we go, we have a special request. Please comment the word strength below if you believe that quiet endurance is its own kind of victory, and that people like Marcus deserve to be seen. Because sometimes, the people we try hardest to break are the ones who end up teaching us how to be human again.